Have you ever wanted to play in the time period before Crusader Kings 3? Paradox games are known for nearly covering all time periods. However, there is a significant gap between Imperator Rome and Crusader Kings 3, as well as the time before Imperator Rome, that Paradox games don't cover. This does make sense because there's far less documented history in these time periods, and people overall are far more interested in recent history like World War II or the Victorian era, which are both covered by Paradox games. Today though, I want to talk about a few Crusader Kings 3 mods that allow you to play in these more obscure time periods and give you an interesting game experience that hardly any historical games cover. Let's therefore dive into as to why you should play some of these ancient historical mods. The first mod I want to talk about is Apotheosis, the Hellenistic Age. This mod starts in the year 275 BC, the year in which the infamous Pyrrhic Wars ended, which were largely fought between the Roman Republic and Epirus. The mod mainly focuses on Greece, which has starting nations such as Epirus and Macedonia. This time period was characterised by the Hellenistic period, which established Greek cities and Greek culture in Africa and Asia. On this date, you can also play as the very famous leader, Pyrrhus of Epirus. He was one of the strongest opponents of early Rome, and had been regarded as one of the greatest generals of antiquity. In the first few years of the CK3 mod, Pyrrhic turns his attention to ancient Greece, and specifically Macedonia. If you want to play historically within this mod, you can further expand Epirus. This is by far the most famous character during this time period in the CK3 mod, and probably the only historical figure you might have heard of. The modders have given him incredible military stats as well, with 26 prowess and 32 martial. Certainly someone you'd want to play as. Regardless of the historical obscurity, you can still have some really interesting campaigns within this mod. One popular route is trying to form the ancient kingdom of Sparta. Since it's such a small map, it's also possible to take the whole entire region, unlike in Crusader Kings 3, where it is nearly impossible to conquer the whole map. To do a Greek conquest with one of the few nations around, therefore, is always a good campaign idea. Besides the history and map, the mod has also decided to add in a few features here and there that can always give you an interesting playing experience. Not only are the costumes designed specifically for the time period, but all the icons to the right hand side, as well as the flags of the CK3 mod, are done so they look more like they come from this time period, rather than the Middle Ages. Also, one new lifestyle focus has been added into the mod, which is the Pillager focus tree in Martial, giving you the Pillager trait if you can complete it. Besides that, the mod also has its own unique religions, buildings, and events, trying to get you immersed in this ancient world. I also particularly enjoyed just how much money you can gain, and the amount of wars declared, making it very easy to unite the realm under your banner. Maybe, however, you'll be more intrigued by the unique government types, which are city-state, coalition, and bureaucratic, as well as the new unique corruption mechanic, bringing in a whole new aspect to the game. Could you follow in the footsteps of Alexander the Great, and perhaps reunite the Greeks under your banner? Another ancient mod I wish to talk about is one set in the Bronze Age. Now sadly, this mod hasn't been updated since January 2021, so something like Royal Court cannot be used, and you have to revert back to the Crusader Kings 3 version 1.12. Because it came out so quickly, this mod has been incredibly popular within the Crusader Kings 3 community, and it became one of the most subscribed mods in Crusader Kings 3. The mod goes way back in time, with you either being able to play in 2115 BC or 1590 BC. These sort of time periods are clearly not well documented, but everyone is highly aware of the ancient Egyptians who built pyramids and other impressive monuments. Their ability to adapt to the conditions of the Nile River for agriculture was also highly impressive, and it's no wonder that some people may be interested in playing with some of these ancient Egyptians. Because this mod hasn't been updated in so long, I'd say it's somewhat lost its appeal to a certain extent, but the mod has its own unique map and has still been added to immensely, with many new religions like oracles and pharaohs, as well as chariots and a buildings overhaul. You can definitely tell it isn't finished, but the head moderator recently stated he still intends to finish a second version of the mod with some exciting new costumes and features. Where they take this mod will definitely be interesting, and again it adds to the collection of ancient CK3 mods. Another mod I wish to talk about is Forgotten Empires. Despite it being updated as recently as May, Forgotten Empires is an underrated mod with only 5,000 subscribers. It's interesting in a sense that it has 3 very different important start dates: the Greek Revolution, the Punic Wars between Hannibal and Caesar, and finally the time of Cleopatra. A lot of the lore in this mod is fictional, but regardless, there are some great historical playthroughs you can choose from. While there's still a lot to be added to, the mod has indeed given significant flavour to the Spartan faction, adding some interesting overpowered Spartan traits, as well as interesting costumes and unique buildings. It's clear to me there's not a whole mod team behind it, and it's much smaller compared to some other CK3 mods, but the developer said he plans to continue this mod very recently, so perhaps this could be one of the greatest CK3 mods in the future. The final mod I wish to discuss is the Fallen Eagle mod. This is perhaps one of my favourite CK3 mods, and I've made a standalone video about it as well. Compared to the others in this mod is by far the most recent in time, covering the fall of the Roman Empire. The start date of 395 AD shows us the division of Rome, divided between 2 sons, who controlled different parts of the Roman Empire. Historically, the Western Roman Emperor was young and therefore incompetent, who relied on his generals. Despite some initial success in the Western Roman Empire, it was weakened after the execution of one of its famous generals, who also depleted the Roman forces significantly. The Roman capital itself was eventually sacked not too long after the start date, and despite it recovering, the damage was permanent to the Roman Empire at this point. Visually, the mod is perhaps one of the best in Crusader Kings 3, with good 3D animation models of cities, really bringing the Roman Empire to life. With a recent update in March, this mod has only gotten better, and we have been given some really interesting artifacts, like this authentic Roman helmet. You can also play with Britain as some interesting characters, like this Celtic legend. The modders haven't stopped there though, and wanted to bring immersive cultures, religions, governments, and interesting mechanics to the world of Crusader Kings 3, such as chariot racing. There's also a similar mod like this in Europa Universalis 4, but you just don't get the same level of immersiveness, since the game is way older and less graphically interesting to people. Do you think you'd play this mod though? Overall therefore, all these mods certainly allow you to experience a strategy history game in different time periods not covered by the traditional Paradox games. Could we see a Paradox game that actually covers one of these periods though, such as the fall of Rome within the Dark Ages? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye for now.
Huge shout out to our patrons, most notably Charlie Damarell, Crilly, Flyerton, JDow52, Kargon, Sjalmi, Wright, Nicoles Christ, QA Shard, Redguard, and ShadowSinger. Your support means a lot, guys. Whilst you're here, you might as well click on another video. I mean, it's literally right there.